Kristen from Kristen's Custom Craves, here to bring you another great recipe. Today we're going to make pot roast. Let's get started. I have a 2.5 beef eye round here that I'm going to season pretty generously with Montreal Steak seasoning and granulated garlic and granulated onion. Want to make sure that the seasoning sticks nicely to the meat. We'll make sure we season all sides of the meat. Let the meat sit in a Ziploc bag for about an hour to let the seasoning really get in the meat. Okay, so my meat has been marinating for about an hour. I'm gonna remove it from the Ziploc bag and place it on the cutting board. I'm going to cover the meat with flour to create a crust on the outside of the meat. The meat will be seared in the Dutch oven. I have my Dutch oven on about medium heat. I put some oil in the pan so the pan is nice and hot when it's time for me to sear the meat. Just like the seasoning, we want to make sure the flour completely coats the meat. So my meat is all covered with flour. Okay, so my Dutch oven is nice and hot, and I'm gonna put the meat in the pot. I'm gonna sear all sides to create a nice crust on the outside of the meat, seal in those juices. After I seared the meat, I removed it from the pot. I'm just gonna let it chill out here for a bit. I've chopped 1 large sweet onion that I'm gonna add to my pot here. I'm gonna let those onions caramelize in the brown bits that are on the bottom of the pan from the meat searing. Caramelized nicely. I'm going to add a cup of red wine. You can use whatever red wine you like, Merlot. I'm using Pinot Noir. I'm going to deglaze my pan, scraping all of the flavor that is stuck to the bottom of the pan. To add 3 cups of beef broth. sprig of rosemary and a bay leaf. And I'm going to add my meat back to the pot. I'm going to cover my pot, and I've preheated my oven to 350 degrees. I'm going to pop this in the oven for about 3 hours or until the roast is fork tender. Okay, so the roast has been in the oven now for about 2 hours. I got a pound of baby carrots here and a pound of Yukon Gold potatoes. Then I'm just going to cut the carrots in half, put them in this bowl here. We're going to roast the carrots and the potatoes in the oven. I preheated the oven to 425 degrees. I like to roast the potatoes and carrots just to get a nice caramelization on the carrots and a nice brownness on the potatoes before adding it to the pot roast. We're going to roast them in the oven for about 40 minutes, right before they are like fully cooked, and they'll finish cooking in the pot with the roast. I'm going to add a little oil to my bowl and give my potatoes and carrots a toss. I'm going to add in some crushed rosemary. A little granulated garlic. A little Montreal Steak seasoning. And a little granulated onion. Toss my potatoes and carrots in the seasoning. Sheet pan lined with oil to put it onto so they can roast in the oven. Okay, so my potatoes and carrots are ready for the oven. Okay, so the potatoes and carrots have been in the oven for about 45 minutes. They're tender. The meat's almost fork tender. I'm going to add the potatoes and carrots to the pot and put it back in the oven for maybe an additional half hour. Okay, so I just took my pot roast out of the oven. It is nice and tender. I'm gonna give it a taste. So good.